DJ HAPA here at Scratch DJ Academy to bring you part 3 of our 3-part series, and this one is improving your mix. So you've already made your mix, and you've already prepped your mix, and now we're going to talk about ways that you can improve your mix. There's a ton of ways, but I'm going to break it down into 4 pieces. All right, so number 1, we're going to talk about EQ a little bit, frequencies. So every song has different bands of audio, essentially, different frequencies. And the most common are highs, mids, and lows, and you can actually affect those. So let me bring that up real fast. I'm going to play a track right now, and I want to isolate the highs, then isolate the mids and the lows so you can hear what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take out the lows right now. You hear how there's no bass? Okay, and how about the mids? So you can hear the low and the high, but it kind of sounds hollow. By the way, if I just kind of double tap on it, it'll bring it back to the center. I'll take out the highs. You hear that there's no highs there. So when would you use this? Well, when you layer 2 things together, when you have 2 songs that are layered together, you have double of each frequency. So in this way, there's a way to isolate out some of the frequencies. Like let's say the song that you're coming out of, maybe you take the lows out of that while you bring just the lows in of the other song under it, and sort of swap channels. So if I were to play 2 songs together, let me mix 2 songs together for you. Try to create this here. Okay. And keep the volume down on this. And here we go. Sync that to make sure they're lined up right. Play them. Take the EQ, the low out of this one, while the low's in on that. And just kind of fade these out. So using the EQ is definitely something with a longer mix. There was only 8 bars. Probably with like a 16 bar or 32 bar mix, I have a lot more control on this. The tough part here too is to try and do this. This is one of those features where it's nice to have a knob. And actually there are plenty of accessories that come with this that you can actually have a physical knob. And for EQ, sometimes having a physical knob or having a set of knobs would be great for something like this. Second thing that we can look at filter, which is kind of similar to EQ. It's definitely taking out frequencies, but it's doing so in a sort of more consolidated way. So let me show you the full band EQ. Let's just try it on just one deck first. Let me get that back. Let's go back to the beginning here. Now listen, if I go to the LP, which is low pass, you'll hear the lows passing through. So you're hearing just the lows. No filter. Now just the highs passing through. This is a great effect to use, and it's a fairly simple one that you can use, and it's kind of like using 2 buttons at the same time. In fact, here, let me just try it one more time with the mix. Come back in here. There we go, and a little off, I'll sync them. As they're playing together, I'll start to filter this out. Cleaned up the mix quite a bit by just using the filter. So that's one way of improving your mix. A third thing that we can do to improve the mix is to possibly maybe set a loop. So maybe I could set a loop out, like sort of an auto loop out as it's going. So this is my loop feature right here. And as this mix is going, maybe if I want to hit this, that'll set a loop. You'll notice that everything turns this sort of purplish color that I'm looping. Now, I can loop, and under the loop button, you'll see it says 4 beats, or if I go arrows down, you'll see the loop gets shorter. So let me just try and set a loop, and let me set it for, I'll just set it up for something so you can hear it. Let me, oh, do you hear that sound? I left the filter. There we go. So maybe something like this on the loop. Let's take it to a 2 beat. 4 beat. 2 beats. Now a half beat, quarter beat, Okay, so maybe using something like that would make sense if I were, let's say, coming out of this mix again. Let's do it one more time. Obviously, you can combine some of these too if you want. Let's do this one more time. They're playing together. Maybe I want to loop this thing out right here. Something like that. So using sort of like an auto loop as like a transition to get out of it. Another way to maybe improve your mix. Now the loop can be really helpful in a lot of other ways, and we'll go into that a little bit later. Last thing that I feel like is probably one of the most important things in terms of improving your mix is to record your mix. There's a great little big red button right in the middle of this. I said little and big. It's a big button right in the middle of it, right here. Start new audio recording. You see it turn on red? It's ready to go. So it's recording everything you're doing now. Recording your mix and getting the playback of it is a great way to learn what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, things that you thought might have sounded really good when you were doing it live. Now it turns out, man, that didn't sound so good. Now when I hit stop recording, and here's where it's going to go. That's what it's titled. I can share it from here. I can load it. So easy to be able to do that. So record your mixes, listen back to them, learn from them, share them with friends, get feedback about those mixes. These are 4 ways that you can improve your mix.